Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fabulous interview. My name is Deborah Blosnich, and I'm here with Debbie Sedify. And tonight we have the lovely pleasure of interviewing Susan Rabby. We're going to dive into a really special conversation about the Elite Mentorship Forum, also known as EMF. And it's all about unlocking your potential, challenging old beliefs, and creating lasting change in your life. So, whether you're curious about personal growth or looking for some inspiration, I think that you will find Susan's story insightful. So, welcome, Susan. I appreciate you being here tonight, and I'm excited to talk with you. All right, so let's jump right in. Susan, what inspired you to join the Elite Mentorship Forum?
Are you good, Susan?
Well, hi, ladies. First of all, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me? I just said, Deborah, you kind of went things going. I don't know whether that's me or you guys not seeing that.
Yeah. So
No?
you're
okay.
I think you're okay now.
We're good.
Okay, sorry, we probably had a little glitch, but we're good now. So
okay. Yeah, technology, isn't it fun?
always.
So what was the question? Ask me.
Sorry, that's okay. What inspired you to join the Elite Mentorship Forum?
Oh, inspired me. Well, what was going on in my, and it was I had been on a pretty lengthy personal development, personal growth path for quite a while, for 5 or 6 years, and a lot of that stemmed from a marriage that wasn't going really well, and second marriage that wasn't going really well, and I had gotten some help from those programs, but not enough. You know, they just kept leaving me wanting something more. I don't know what, but something more. And I'd gotten things. I'd gotten good stuff from the other programs, and they cost a lot of money. So when you're looking at still feeling stuck, it's really frustrating. So I was the program that I was on at the time, when I never heard of Peter before. He popped up on my screen on Facebook, and he said, and I quote, "The personal development industry." I put my fist on my table and I'm going, hell yes, it has, because I'm still stuck. How come? So I listened to that, and of course it was an invite to a free masterclass, hour-long something or other. And I thought, well, I had just spent a lot of money on one program and went directly into another program that cost me not quite as much, but almost. And I told myself, you know, something about this guy is intriguing me, but I need to hear more, because if I really like it, then I'm going to put it on the back burner for later. So I did promo for Ultimate Self Mastery, and it blew me away. And I thought, oh my God, you know, I just liked the way he sounded, and I you know, it wasn't expensive. It really wasn't. It was so ridiculously reasonable that I thought, but it's a year long, and I didn't want to commit to another year long, because I just gotten off a 6-month program and entered into another 6-month program. So I listened to it and I said, you know, I'm only going to pay for the first month. I'm not going to pay for the whole year. I know it's more cost effective to pay for the year, but I'm only going to pay for the first month. 3 weeks in, during that time, Peter had, what is it, the Change of Peer Group 5-day challenge to change your peer
Yes.
group. And of course, he's talking about the Elite Mentorship Forum, which is the upgrade. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this? Because I want this. And yet I've spent a lot of money on the last 2 programs. And I'm going, I went through the program, and then he talks, well, apply anyway. Maybe you won't get in, maybe you will, whatever, right? So what the hell? I said, sorry, can I say what the hell?
Sure.
Said I applied, and I got a call, and I got a significant scholarship to take that program. And I'm going, holy crap, I have to do this. That's how I started. And I was still in the other program, and I won't say the name, but that program was so, those of us who know the terminology, by me. The fellow was so by me. It's like sell. And I was looking for community. It was in the middle of the height of COVID, and I had lost community. And anybody that I was hanging around with at the time that I was going to, beginning of COVID, you had to pick your small group. And the small group that I had all had major health issues. And I'm going, darn, there's not much community there, but they're what I have, but it's not enough. So I was really looking for community. And I think that was part of it, the whole change your peer group and change your life 5-day challenge thing really, really did it for me, because I was missing community huge. So that's how I started. Yeah.
That is quite the story. Yeah, right? Because other programs are out there and we spend a lot of money on them, and then we find ourselves where we are because their goal is to just keep you coming back, where Peter promises lasting transformation, and you found it. And I also love that. I have a question though. So did you join EMF before you went through the 5-day challenge, or did you do the 5-day challenge and then join?
Oh, let me see. Well, the 5-day challenge was
curious.
part of USM. Yeah, it was part of it. That was concurrent with the first month of lessons. So we got it anyway. And I just assumed it was part of the USM program. So I don't know that I finished it. No, I must have finished it, because it seems to me the question was, if you're going to apply, then you better at least finish the 5-day challenge to show that you can stick to something.
Okay, so it was kind of a qualifier then. Okay, awesome. I love that, and I know that that's something we can.
I think so. Yeah. Well, somewhat. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I love your story too, because then it really goes with the next question that I want to ask you. But I also was the same way. All of a sudden, Peter's popped up on my Facebook. Imagine that, right? I had no idea who Peter Sage is, and he just popped up. And what got me was procrastination. That was mine. Oh my gosh. But anyway, Susan, I want to know, how did Peter's message resonate with you differently than all those other personal development programs that you were part of and encountering? And sorry, my cat's playing with my computer here.
Hey, we're all cat lovers here, I think. Oh, how did Peter resonate differently? Like before I started or after I started? What do you think?
Doesn't matter. Like, obviously you found Peter and things have changed, right?
Yeah. I think after it took a week or so from the time that I actually applied, and then got the phone call, and then got accepted, like right on the phone call. They had the power to do that, and started paying money. But once you pay the money, you're in. It's just like a vacation. Once you buy your airline tickets, you're on vacation, you're in vacation mode, right? Everything is about vacation. And that is a brilliant way to start a program. Well, first of all, just telling me that, the personal development industry has let me down, that spoke to me pretty good. And it's not that it was bad, but and Peter says this a lot, that the vast majority of personal development programs out there get people out of victimhood into taking responsibility for their lives, which is a really great thing to do. And it's so needed. But his program goes beyond that, so much beyond that. But he speaks in analogies and metaphors and stories. And I think he has, I call it his superpower. He has a way of speaking and making very, let's talk about the science, the complex science that is behind a lot of the work that he teaches us. It is, I'm not a science person, way over my head. And yet he explains it in such a simple way that, anybody could understand it, whether you're a science nerd or not. If you're a science nerd, you're going to love it to bits and dive deeper into all of the extra science that he provides. Like he's taken a lot of, I'm going to say this, he's done a lot of adult learning, how to teach to adults, because my background's in HR, and so adult learning was also to research, because I did a lot of training in my corporate life. And so I recognized the different ways he has of teaching is very, very in tune with all of the latest and greatest recommendations for teaching adults, and which was brilliant, because he really does encompass all of those techniques in his program. So I think I picked up on that right away. But anyway, I'm not sure if that's really answered your question or not. But.
Yeah, no, it's good. I find that his analogies and metaphors help me a lot as well to understand the concepts in a very simplistic way, but not simplistic enough that you don't, you're brushing it off. You still understand the concepts. It's
Absolutely,
really. Yeah.
He's so good at speaking to whatever level. Sorry.
Yeah.
He can make anything complicated sound understandable. But
right. I love that. I think it's an excellent point to make too, because even though the concepts can be complicated, they're accessible to everyone, no matter what your education level is. So I think that's important. So very lovely. I love that. So speaking on this, and you did talk a little bit about this, that you were
I don't think I've ever I've been.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's
There's a little lag. It's okay.
My system or what, but I'm getting a lot of. There's a lag, and everybody's disappearing every once in a while for some reason. I don't know.
That's okay.
So I don't know whether you're hearing me when I'm speaking or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Ask your next question, because I missed that.
That's okay. That's okay. So you spoke a little bit about like the reason you were into personal development was because you had some failed relationships and you were struggling, and then you joined other personal development. So my question is, what were some of the emotions that you were still struggling with before you joined EMF that made you like continue to search for more answers?
That's a really, really good question. And I find, okay, a little bit of a story. My husband and I, and it's second marriage, so, you know, I hate to fail twice. Failing once is bad enough. Failing twice is, holy moly, hard. Or to think that, you know, you don't go into a second marriage willy-nilly like you do when you're 18 or 19, like I did the first time. And it was actually my husband who suggested that we go into something, which kind of blew me away. But we did that for 3 years. 3 years we were in that particular program. It's a good program. It really is. I did get a lot of stuff out of it. But, you know, with a little hindsight here, it's very much getting people out of victimhood. I'm not sure I was that much in a victimhood, but it's a good program for doing that, really is. But 3 years, and it wasn't helping our marriage at all.
Oh, wow. Right.
Which
Well, that's a
was
lot of,
the point, right?
yeah.
A lot of frustration. And so then when I went into the next program, which is a well-known person that if I said the name, almost everybody would know it. A really good program. It got more into the science of it. And was a little frustrated with that one, though, just the way it was run. Not that the person running it wasn't good, but I had some issues with the format and stuff. So I wasn't getting out of that one what I really might have. And I'm going to say it, the difference in those programs that really wasn't good was that program was open-ended. In other words, Peter runs the programs as, okay, everybody, you're going to sign up, and this is the date it starts, and then nobody else can register. That's, you know, that's the way it is. Then you'll have a closed group. Whereas with the other program, it wasn't a closed group. And every week there would be new people. And every week the person running it would say, okay, everybody put in the chat what module you're working on. So nobody was ever working on the same module. It was really, really hard. And I think that's the only real issue I had with that program, is that, anyway, it didn't work for me. And so when I knew Peter's program was going to be a closed program,
Right.
that was a big deal for me. But to answer your question, the feelings I was feeling was, oh my God, I've spent a lot of money and time, and it hasn't helped me with my marriage. It hasn't helped me with much of anything, really. And am I that messed up that I can't be helped?
Oh, you ended up
That's
feeling
what
worse.
Yeah.
So can I add
You
an
know,
extra question? Oh, sorry. Do you mind if I
sure.
ask an extra question here then? So going through EMF, was there any specific tool, or I know we have a whole module related to dealing with our emotions and kind of reframing them. Was there a specific tool or something that then helped you in your relationship that you did get out of EMF?
In that relationship, I'm gonna give it a very different kind of an answer. I'm gonna say yes, but we did divorce.
Okay, so you found
And
some closure, but your ultimate was we're
yeah,
still going separate ways then. Okay.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was my decision in that marriage to move out of the house.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you know, we've been stagnating here for a couple of years, too long. And something major has to happen to shake us up, to see if we actually have something left to work on. And
I
I
love that.
said, I said, I've taken a year lease on a townhouse, and in this year, if we work on things and we find that we have enough to work on, ideally that would be the best outcome. But if we don't, and we decided we don't have anything to work on, I'm good to leave. That's the way I
Okay,
went into it.
so when you were
Yeah.
ending the other one though, you were feeling more like still feeling like what's wrong with you. Like, why couldn't you
Oh
make
yeah.
this work? What's wrong with you? But once you went through the EMF, even though it ended, you felt differently about yourself, if I'm hearing
Oh
you
yeah.
correctly. Is that so?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I guess that this is my element of victim is I still blamed him for a lot of stuff, even though I was happy to leave.
Right.
I did blame him, but I took more responsibility for my own role and everything with the work in EMF for sure. And
Okay. Well, thank you.
we still get along great. But just
Good.
it was clarity for me just to realize that I was doing enough work on myself. And the more, it's just like anything that you learn, the more you learn, the more you know you need to learn, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of like personal development or personal growth is not oh, I took a class and I'm good now. That's not what it is. It's, you know, you're a lifelong learner for your personal growth.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, excellent.
yeah, but what's really great about that is Peter's program can be that. It's the one that gives you everything. It's not that I haven't gone on to take other people's classes, but what the difference is they're with people that Peter highly recommends and highly respects, and you know exactly why you're doing it, and it's not a God, I hope this program works for me thing. You know, if you take a program that Peter recommends for you, that it's going to be really good, and
Yeah.
that's the difference. Yeah.
Thank
And
you. And I appreciate you being very vulnerable. Sorry, Debbie. Thanks for being vulnerable and sharing that. But I think that's something a
That's
lot
okay.
of people that are looking for personal development and programs like this, they have that fear too, like, what's wrong with me? And I think that
Yeah.
that's a huge thing that we get out of it is you realize it's not really, there's nothing wrong with you, but you might be
Right.
making the wrong choices for yourself. And this empowers you to make the right choice for yourself and you feel good about the choices you're making. So thank you for that so
Perfect.
much.
That's really well said, Deborah. It's exactly what it is. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
And Susan, we talked a little bit about the other programs we're taking people out of victimhood. And that's not where Peter's program is. And I want, with just if you could talk a bit about if somebody is looking to go into the Elite Mentorship Forum, kind of, you know, what level would, what kind of, I guess, level or place in their life would you expect them to be to really be able to get the most out
Yeah.
of the EMF program?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a conversation with a woman this morning on that very point.
Hmm.
And I told her the EMF program is not for everybody at every time. Uh, if I was talking with a person who I feel is really firm and entrenched in being a victim, it's not right for them. If they're complaining about things and wishing things were better, okay, that they were getting closer, because you have to want something to change. And sometimes it may be that you want somebody else to change, but you're looking for a change. And I think that's really the thing. Something has to change, but you do have to appreciate that you're the only person that you have any control over changing. So if you want change, start there. You know, you may still think that somebody else needs to change, but that's just your opinion. And it may not necessarily be what's needed, because once you change yourself, everything around you changes the way you look at it.
I love that.
So,
That is so true. And so when we're working on ourselves and we're changing ourselves, which is what we've all done, then you really look at it, things from a different perspective.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
that's so amazing. And I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to pass it over to Deb so we can keep moving. But did you have any unexpected insights? I mean, maybe that was one, that you have to change yourself. But is there anything else that you really felt was totally unexpected from the program that you experienced? Some aha moments or something that you felt?
Maybe not during the program, but after the program is over. I've just a half an hour ago left the class that I'm currently teaching, and it's so interesting to share with these people who are doing it for the first time, the program, right? And they're struggling a little. They were struggling a little bit today, and they're behind. And it's module 10, and it's not one you want to be behind on, because it has to go hand in hand with module 11. And we really, my co-trainer and I, we really had to kind of step it back a little bit and say, you have this program for life. And you will do it again. And because you will be a totally different person the next time you do it. And, we just, you are where you're at, and right where you're at is where you're meant to be. Like you cannot be anywhere different than where you are at. It's
profound.
not possible. So
that's true.
Isn't it? That's where you're supposed to be. And if you're growing, that's great. But right now is where you're at. So I think I had a lot more. I learned so much more every time I go through this program. I think that's what's so brilliant about it. Here's one that I learned this year, even just this year. Now it's been it's December. Oh my gosh. It's exactly 3 years that I finished my first EMF class. Exactly 3 years.
Oh.
It was December of 21. And it was only this year that it really, really hit me, Peter's message of his mission to raise global consciousness. And I'm going, I don't know why I didn't really get that before. And I just got it this year. And I'm going, holy smokes, because it came because people talk a lot about love in this program, and love was a 4-letter word for me, and not a good one. And because I shared this with somebody else this morning, and they couldn't believe it, but it's true. Up until 15 years ago, when I got married the second time, I had never once heard the word love directed at me. Not once.
Wow, girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, not from my parents, not from my first husband. I shouldn't say that. My 3-year-old, my youngest child, when she was 3, my kids are all in their 50s right now. Sorry, almost all in their 50s. 2 of them are. One isn't. When she was 3, and whatever was going on, I think she's a old soul, this one. I was having a tough day, and she put her hands around my neck, and she said, "Mommy, I love you." It's the first time I'd ever heard that.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when I understand that when you raise your consciousness, which is raising your frequency, your vibration, your energy, that's where love lives. It doesn't live very much in the lower frequencies. So if Peter's mission is to raise global consciousness, is raising the population's ability to live in love and not hatred and everything else crappy in the world. And it hit me that this year that's what that really means. Because if you raise your consciousness, then you're living in a state of what would love do when you're hit with a tough situation. And that was huge for me. I'm going, holy crap, why didn't I get that before? But I didn't. For whatever reason, I didn't get that before. So yeah, those were the kind of aha. I've had some big ahas. I've had so much magic in my life in the last, I'm going to say 2 years. Well, maybe 3 years. I've been on my own now for 4 years since I left my house. I walked out of the house and told my husband, we need to work on this or we're splitting up. We need to find something that we can work on. And so that's 4 years ago now. And my life has been so magical. Probably since then, because I had a lot of magic when I decided to walk out of the house, the magic happened. In 2 days, I had such a magic come into my life. It was holy moly. And the woman I was talking with this morning, she's very spiritual. She has not taken our program. She's not ever heard of Peter Sage before. I met her at a networking event a couple of weeks ago. This is our second conversation. I just love her to bits. I told her, I says, it's so rare to find somebody who gets this work without having taken our
Right.
program. And she
True.
hasn't taken anybody's program.
Oh, wow.
But it's just so rare to be with somebody who's so like-minded without having taken this program. Lovely, lovely, lovely person. Just really lovely. And being around like-minded people, as you know, is so great. I don't know how else to say it. It's just so great. And so this is what I got from her this morning. She said she meditates, and she said, yeah, people are, you're one of those people. You meditate, and if she ever says the word magic, well, I get that one too. Don't say the word magic to the wrong person. You just like eyeballs rolling in the back of their head, and oh my God, what planet are you from? So it's when you know magic is true. You don't need anybody else to validate it because you know it.
Love that.
It's from Planet Woo Woo.
Yeah, exactly.
But Susan, I really appreciate you sharing your story and your aha. And what's interesting for me is I grew up in not even realizing this till last year, that what I was missing, and one of the things I was missing in my life wasn't somebody telling me I love you, but getting that affection, somebody to hold me, somebody to just hug me. And I didn't realize that till last year. That was something I was so starved for as a child. And so I understand it. And what really hit me going through Peter's program is that we so much reserve love and hold back on saying I love you to people, and it's like it's on a pedestal and you never use it unless it's like got superpowers out there, and we should be having love, sending love to everyone. And so, and that's what I've learned from Peter's program. So sharing that story really means a lot to me, what you just said. It really does.
Beautiful.
And so we kind of went a little all over. And Deb, I don't know if you want to wrap up with the last question here, because I think it's your turn.
Okay, that's all right. It doesn't matter either way. But I will, because you touched on how it's a lifelong learning process and how you have this program for life. You have the community and the friends that you make, and the changes that you make within yourself are lasting. They will last your lifetime, and you'll continue to build upon them. So you already talked about all of that fabulous stuff. So our final question for you tonight would be, if somebody was thinking about, or they were on the fence about doing EMF, what advice or what would you say to them?
I think what is, if I, in conversation, have a sense that they're wanting change, then my question to them would be, what is your plan? What is your plan forward? And what is really painful in your life right now? And how is that pain affecting the rest of your life, the rest of the areas of your life, right?
Yeah.
And so once they kind of clarify that, then I would ask them, so if you had the magic wand and you could have a life that you really wanted, what would that look like? And typically they'll revert back to, well, the things that's painful in their life, well, that stuff would be gone. And so that's often it. But then the next question would be, so if those things were a reality, how would that impact the rest of your life, the other areas of your life, right? And so helping them get clarity is really critical. Because I asked them, so, what is your plan to make that happen if that's what you want? And maybe they have a plan and maybe they don't. Okay, so how long is that going to take you? And I'm sad to say, usually, probably a couple of years is the answer. And I say, well, do you think if you had some support in that, do you think you might be able to do that sooner? And I think that's what gets them. Is, yeah, I'd like it sooner. If you could have that life in 6 months, would that make a difference?
Wow. Those are some great questions for people, including ourselves, to ask, right? And that's why we did it. I love that. And yeah, right? Like you said, you were in other programs for years and you weren't getting the result, weren't having the thought processes change. And then in 6 months or less than that, you were like, I need to make a change for myself. And you were comfortable with the change. And even though it still wasn't what you initially thought you wanted to do, you're like, no, I don't want this second marriage to end. And I've been there. I've been through multiple relationships, not multiple marriages. So I understand the kind of the heaviness of that. But wow, there were some great questions for people to ask themselves. And yeah, if you could speed it up and maybe make some serious progress, if not really wave your magic wand and have some of that stuff happen in 6 months. So, wow.
And here's what the qualifier is, because people can say they want change, but the qualifier is on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to taking the time and investing financially in making that change?
I like that.
And
you
1
said
to 10, where are you sitting? So you know, and unless they're at least a 6, they're not ready. Because if they say they're a 5, it's like, okay, you're not ready. You know, maybe there's some resources I could send your way that would help. You know, but you're not ready, because you're
I
not
love
ready
that. You have
to.
to be
It's an
ready.
investment. It's not going to be. There's as much as we'd like to have a magic wand, we don't have one. We have a 6-month one that's pretty darn good, but it's not overnight, and there's a investment to be made in time, energy, financially, everything. And that's, we all know that if you don't pay for something, I know people give a lot of things away, but if you don't pay for it, it's because you're not valuing, you will not value it.
Right.
Doesn't matter how good it is, you will not value it if you have not put a financial price on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Well said. Thank you.
Very well said. And yeah, it's not a magic bullet. You do have to do the work. But if you are ready and you're committed and you want to make a change in your life, and 6 months goes by so fast. And honestly, the 6 months is just your apprenticeship. That's what it is. Because it's a lifelong learning, and you just kind of go through everything in a blur in 6 months, but you do have to put in the work. And if you're ready, definitely something that's worthwhile to do if you're ready. Susan, wow, such incredible sharing today. Really inspiring what you've said for our audience. And for those who are curious about the Elite Mentorship Forum and how it can create that lasting change in your life, we would encourage you to take the next step to get in touch with us. You can get in touch with Deb, Susan, or myself by DM. And, this is where you can make some changes to your mindset, break some limiting beliefs. We all have those. And maybe find a new purpose. A lot of people find their purpose, their path in life through EMF to support them. And also, if you're interested, you can check out Peter's. You talked about the USM, or Ultimate Self-Mastery, which is how you got into this in the first place. That's how I got into it. And I took the master class and I said, I am not spending a penny past the master class. And look at where I am today. And it was worth every penny that I spent. It was the best investment I made for my life.
I'd like to add one thing before we wrap up.
Yes.
It was, I thank goodness had signed up for Elite Mentorship Forum, and I had about a month and a half before the class was starting. And in that month and a half, you have full access to what is called Module 0. So you have lots of things to go through and look at and whatnot in the meantime before your class actually starts. And I will tell you that those 11 straight talks blew me away, that we have access to as soon as you're signed up and you get access in the system, you get those 11 straight talks, and they're anywhere from an hour to 2 hours long each. So there's a lot of content there. I got through those straight talks, and I honestly said this to myself. This has blown me away so much that I already feel that I've gotten my money's worth. You could stop this program right now, and I would have felt I had total value in every penny I'd spent. So whatever's coming down the road is just gravy. And I really felt that way. I love those straight talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're powerful.
They are powerful. I've listened to them all many times myself. And I love what you said, because, you know, and what I love is you are somebody who has taken a lot of programs, and you know what you're, you know, you're not a new at the personal, I guess, growth industry, and to already know and be able to identify that you already got your money's worth before you even started the program. That says everything right there. We have to wrap it up on that. Module 0 is all you need to get your money's worth. I love that. But take I dare you to take the Ultimate Self-Mastery Masterclass, going to ultimateselfmastery.com. I put it in the chat. It's in the description. You can DM us if you want, but take the masterclass. It's an hour of your time, and you will learn so much just in that 1 hour, and it's free. Thank you again, Susan. Really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you both. And it's so good to see you guys. I have to tell you this, and I know we're short on time. You guys both being in EMF 21, that class really did it for me. I mean, it solidified my whole intention of being a trainer in this program, and that's what I wanted to do. It was such a great class, and you guys are both in it, and I got to meet you both in Tenerife. It was so great.
Yes, that was gorgeous. That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yes,
we had a good class, and you know, to me, the people that I've met, you know, talk about icing on the cake. To have community is so important, and having that kind of community is you can't. It's beyond. All right. Sending so much love to you, Susan and Deb.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you so much.